back to my channel. I am back with another review, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. A lot went down in this episode, so let's just get right into this review. So at the very beginning of this episode, Natalie ends up putting together yet again another house meeting. Now this house meeting is outside of the house, not inside the house, and I'm guessing because she knew that a fight was going to break out, she didn't want them to fight inside of the house. She didn't want anything to get broken or destroyed. And Natalie claims that the reason why she put together this house meeting is because she wanted them to talk out their issues, because she does want them to all stay in one house. But I don't believe that. I think that she knows that she's going to continue to put them in separate houses. She just gathered them together outside of this house because she wanted them to fight. Now, when the other girls end up arriving to Natalie's house, that's when Rollie ends up confronting Smiley immediately about the post that Smiley put on social media. Smiley ended up putting up a post that said that she got jumped 2 days after having a miscarriage, and Rollie was upset about that because she said that she doesn't understand why Smiley is saying that her and ET jumped her, when Smiley didn't even put anybody's name in that post, and they ended up showing the post in this episode. So I don't even understand where Rollie's getting the idea that, Smiley said that Rollie jumped her. She didn't put anybody's name in it, but yet her, Sapphire, and Sukihana are so upset about it. Sapphire starts telling Smiley that she feels disrespected by the post that she put up because she doesn't feel like Smiley was jumped, and now she's saying that she wants to fight her. Now, I don't understand why Sapphire wants to fight Smiley because she said that she got jumped, because technically she did get jumped. Because anytime it's 2-on-1, that means that you are jumping. Now, it wasn't a severe jumping because I didn't see Sapphire actually swing on Smiley, but she did grab her from behind so that Mariah could hit her. So in my opinion, that was kind of jumping. Now, Smiley was telling Sapphire that she doesn't want to fight, and when she says she doesn't want to fight, that's when Sukihana ends up jumping into the conversation, and she starts telling Smiley that if it was Mariah who wanted to fight her, she would have jumped up and fought her without a problem. But I don't agree with Sukihana on that, because in the previous episode when Smiley went into the kitchen, Mariah came in there to fight, and that's when Smiley tried to walk away, and that's when Mariah started hitting her from the back. So to me, she didn't really want to fight Mariah either. Now, Smiley does end up giving Mariah her chain back, but she shouldn't have taken it in the first place, and she probably wouldn't be in this situation. I mean, she had Mariah's chain for quite some time, and she went online and said that she melted it down to make a ring for her son, even though she knows that she didn't do it. So I honestly feel like she brought a lot of this on herself, but at the same time, I really don't feel like Mariah needed any help. Now, even though Mariah ended up getting her chain back from Smiley, Sapphire still wants to fight her, but Smiley is still saying that she doesn't want to fight. Now, at this point, Natalie is yelling at Smiley in front of everyone, telling her that if she doesn't fight, she has to leave. And I'm sorry, but I just don't think that that's fair, because if everybody else doesn't want to fight, do they have to go home too? Because I don't understand why Smiley is being singled out. They're saying that she needs to go home because she's not trying to defend herself, but she fought the person already that she had beef with. She fought Mariah the first episode, so I don't understand why she has to fight somebody else if she doesn't want to, or if she doesn't have beef with them. Now, even though Smiley said that she doesn't want to fight, Sapphire ended up running up on her anyway, and the two of them kind of started fighting. Now, I agree with Ahna. It wasn't really a fight. It was more of a scuffle because they got broken up pretty quickly, and all they were really doing was pulling hair. But when Smiley is holding on to Sapphire's hair and she won't let go, that's when security is trying to pull the two of them apart, but obviously Smiley will not let go of Sapphire's hair. And so that's when Sukihana tries to jump in, because obviously she's pissed off because her friend is involved in a fight. And so Sukihana is trying to squeeze into the fight, trying to jump over security so that she can hit Smiley because she wants Smiley to let go of Sapphire's hair. And she's also yelling at Smiley, telling her not to put her hands on her friend, which was really confusing to me because Sapphire is the one that wanted to fight Smiley. Smiley did not want to fight Sapphire, and she vocalized that multiple times, and Sapphire ran up and the two of them started fighting anyway. I just don't understand why Sukihana felt the need to jump into a fight that didn't have anything to do with her. I mean, yeah, that's her friend, but at the same time, her friend wanted to fight Smiley. Smiley did not want to fight, so how are you going to try to jump in and tell this girl to stop hitting her when she got hit first? I mean, Sapphire and Sukihana were the main ones saying that they don't like bullying, but then they started becoming the bully, because Sapphire trying to make Smiley fight even though she says she doesn't want to me is a form of bullying. And then Sukihana tries to jump Smiley while Sapphire and Smiley are fighting, so to me, they are kind of acting like bullies. I mean, don't get me wrong, Smiley is not innocent at all. She's not. Because at the audition, she had no reason to go up to Mariah's sister and snatch the microphone out of her hand. Had she not done that, her and Mariah wouldn't have any issues. But at the same time, I just don't think that it's right that everybody else inserted themselves into something that didn't have anything to do with them. And when the fight got broken up, Smiley was basically saying that she just wants to go out and have a good time. So I don't think the beef between Sapphire and Smiley is going to continue after this. I think there was no purpose for the two of them to fight in the first place, but it is what it is. It happened. Now, what I did not like was that Biggie got in her confessional and she said that she agreed with Natalie that if Smiley doesn't fight, she should have to go home. And I feel like if Biggie thinks that that's the way it should be for Smiley, then she should have to go home too if somebody wants to fight her and she doesn't want to fight. Now, Scarface ends up addressing Tsiki after all this time being in the house with her, and she ends up telling her that she would like an apology because she didn't like the way that Tsiki was mocking her on social media. But Tsiki ends up telling Scarface that the reason why she was mocking her on social media is because she was beefing with Krishan and she was trying to defend her sister. But when Scarface ends up telling Tsiki a second time that she wants an apology, you can tell that that kind of struck a nerve with Tsiki, and she put her purse down and she started getting a little bit aggressive with her words, and that's when everybody got a bit nervous because they felt like Tsiki was going to hit Scarface. But what I didn't like during this situation between Tsiki and Scarface was that some of the other girls were very adamant about making sure that Tsiki didn't end up hitting Scarface because they felt like there wasn't a need for the two of them to fight, but yet they sat there and made Smiley fight Sapphire and made it a big deal telling her that she needed to go home if she didn't want to fight, but yet they're sitting over here saying that Tsiki shouldn't fight Scarface because Scarface isn't trying to fight her. Now, Tsiki does end up telling Scarface that because Krishan had her friends jump her, she's not defending Krishan anymore, and so she doesn't have any beef with her. But I do think that it's weird that the two of them ended up hugging. Like, I think they could have squashed their beef without hugging each other. Now, T and DJ Sky end up showing up, and that's when Ahna decides that she's going to address DJ Sky because a few episodes ago, DJ Sky did hit her, and that's the reason why the two of them ended up fighting. Now, I don't know what started their beef off in the first place. I honestly thought that DJ Sky went after Ahna because Krishan had an issue with Ahna, and because Tsiki didn't hit Ahna when she wanted her to. I felt like Krishan had DJ Sky do it, but I might be wrong about that. I guess they had beef stemming from social media, but I do like Ahna because I do think that she stands up for herself and she does defend herself even though she's really small and skinnier than a lot of the other girls on the show. Now, I was surprised at the fact that DJ Sky ended up apologizing to Ahna and the two of them ended up hugging it out. I do think that their beef was random because I didn't know what their beef was about, but at the same time, I do think that it's okay for them to squash their beef because honestly, DJ Sky is not really a part of the show that much. She really is just the DJ. Now, because DJ Sky and Ahna ended up squashing their beef and hugging it out, that's when ET decides to tell T that she doesn't want to fight anymore and that she wants them to squash their beef, and the two of them end up hugging it out. Now, I honestly don't think that T likes Scarface. I think she just hugged it out because she didn't understand the point of their beef in the first place, but I do think that she still doesn't like her, and I think she feels like Scarface was being fake when she hugged her. Now, just when you thought that Natalie had enough of the drama, she ends up gathering all the girls into one room, and she tells them that it's apology day and that everybody needs to work out their issues with each other. And Scotty feels like Natalie is referring to her and her issues that she has with Ahna. So Scotty and Ahna start going back and forth with each other because obviously they don't like each other. And I honestly feel like Scotty started that beef off with Ahna in the first place and she ended up getting beat up. I'm sorry, but I do feel like Ahna got the best of Scotty during that fight. I honestly feel like Scotty should have stuck to her guns in the way that she was the first season that she was on the show. I understand that she has to defend herself, but if she's not a fighter, she should stop trying to pretend to be a fighter. I honestly feel like she let the fans get to her head because everybody was saying that she was boring because she wasn't fighting. And so in order for her to secure her spot on the show, she probably felt like she had to fight. And when Natalie ends up bringing Ahna and Scotty into a different room, the two of them are still going back and forth with each other. I mean, they're throwing things, security is holding them back. At this point, I don't feel like there's any working things out between the two of them. And now Biggie decides that she wants to address Rollie because she feels like Rollie doesn't like her for no reason and she feels like Rollie switched up on her from last season. But I really don't understand why Biggie is trying to act clueless because Rollie is right. She was not the only person that was telling Biggie to leave Stunner Girl alone and do her own thing and be her own person so that people can see who she really is on her own. And because she wouldn't do that and she was up under Tommy and she kept going at Stunner Girl every chance she got, that's the reason why Rollie stopped liking her. her. Now, do I think that Rollie needed to insert herself in the beef that Stunner Girl and Biggie had with each other? No, but at the same time, she wasn't saying anything that everybody else wasn't saying too. A lot of the girls from last season were saying that Biggie would act cool with Stunner Girl when the cameras were not rolling, and she even apologized to her. And then when the cameras would come on and she realized that Tommy still had beef with her, that's when she would start going at Stunner Girl again. And to me, that's fake, and a lot of people were able to see that last season. So Biggie can't sit there and act like she doesn't know why people had an issue with her last season and why Rollie didn't like her anymore. Now, what I will say is that the way that Rollie was acting towards Biggie at the auditions was wrong. She was talking down to her. She was yelling at her like she was a child, and I didn't think that that was right, nor did I think that that was fair. So I am glad that this season Biggie is doing things a little bit differently. She's not underneath anybody like she was underneath Tommy last season, and she is defending herself against Rollie and anybody else that comes at her, and I think that that's good for her, and I think that that's the reason why a lot of people are kind of starting to like her this season. Now, when Rollie ends up referring to Biggie as a replacement, that seems to really piss her off. She doesn't want to be referred to as a replacement. She takes it as an insult. And listen, I completely understand because on Bad Girls Club, people didn't like being called a replacement either, but I don't think that it really matters. Because if you stand out and you make your mark, it doesn't matter if you're a replacement or not. Listen, Camila is an example of that. She came at the very last minute on BGC 8, and she's one of the fan favorites, so I don't think that it really matters. And to be honest with you, some of the replacements are more memorable than the people who were originals on the show, so I don't think that it matters. Now, Rollie ends up bringing up that Biggie wasn't put on the private jet with Natalie, and that really seemed to upset Biggie as well, which, listen, I can understand why she would be upset about that because this is not her first season of the show, and so I do think that she should have been put on the private jet. But you have to know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with Natalie, and if you watch the show, you know that she plays favoritism, so Biggie should know that she's not one of Natalie's favorites, so she's not going to get special treatment just because she was on the show already. I do think that it's wrong that Natalie only puts certain girls on the private jet. I mean, I do think that she should rotate it. But Natalie ends up telling Biggie that the reason why she won't put her on the private jet is because she doesn't want her and Rollie to fight on it because last season Stunner Girl and Razor ended up fighting on it. But if that's the way that she feels, which I can understand that, keep Rollie off the private jet one time so that Biggie can get on there. That's why I said I think that she should rotate it. Now, at this point, Rollie is trolling Biggie because she realizes that she got underneath her skin, and so she starts singing Jim Jones, and Sky ends up joining in on singing the song. So this ends up pissing off Biggie because she feels like Sky is egging on Rollie, and she's joining in on making fun of her, and so the two of them start getting into a heated back and forth, and at this point, everybody is nervous because they feel like Sky will demolish Biggie, and so they don't want her to get into a fight with her. And even though things got pretty heated between Sky and Biggie, I do respect the fact that Sky did not put her hands on Biggie because she understands that Biggie was just frustrated. And then on top of that, she probably knows that she can beat Biggie, and so she decided not to put her hands on her. Now, because Biggie would not stop talking and she was yelling, that's when Scarface ended up jumping up and she gets involved in it and she starts yelling in Biggie's face and she tells Biggie to shut up. And because Biggie would not shut up, she ended up pushing her on the couch. Now, despite the fact that I do think that Scarface was wrong for coming at Biggie the way that she did, because she did not have that energy at all for Tsiki. When she was talking to Tsiki, she was very careful with her words. She talked very calmly and kind of in a sweet voice as well. And she made up with her really quickly because she didn't want to fight Tsiki. She just decided that she was going to go at Biggie because she feels like Biggie is an easier target, just like she decided to go after T instead of going after Tsiki. But honestly, I don't feel that bad for Biggie in this situation because she was sitting there saying that if Smiley did not fight Sapphire, she should have to go home because she should be standing on business. But then when E.T. pushed her, she didn't do anything about it. So should she have to go home too? Now, before they end up going to the club, Natalie calls Smiley on the phone and Smiley ends up asking Natalie where her chain is because obviously in the last episode, Sapphire got it off of her neck and she gave it to Mariah Lynn. So Mariah Lynn ends up getting on the phone with Smiley and she tells Smiley that she gave her chain to her sister, so if she wants it back, she has to go through her sister to get it. So Smiley starts asking Mariah Lynn where her sister is at because obviously they're in New York and that's where Mariah Lynn's sister lives. And so Mariah Lynn basically tells her that when she sees it, she needs to try to get it back. So now when they're all on two separate buses to go to the club, Natalie ends up complaining to some of the other girls that she keeps on getting phone calls from Smiley. And when she answers the phone from Smiley, Smiley ends up asking for a hoodie. And Natalie gets really annoyed by that and tells Smiley that she needs to be dressed up, which I don't understand why all the other girls really cared if Smiley was not dressed up. I mean, if I knew that somebody had my chain and I was going to be at the same place as them, I wouldn't dress up in a dress and heels either, because I know I'm going to have to fight. So I don't understand why they were confused as to why she wasn't dressed up. I'm not gonna lie though, I really hope that somebody ends up confronting Natalie soon, because she's really pissing me off the way that she's being fake and phony and the way that she's treating some of the other girls a certain type of way. Because when she got off the phone with the girls that were on the other bus, she ended up calling them dumb hoes to the girls that were on the bus with her. And I know that she wouldn't say that to some of those girls' faces, so I don't understand why she would say something like that, trying to act like she's cool, and then when they confront her at the reunion, she's gonna act like she didn't do anything wrong. When they arrive at the second club, that's when Scarface ends up having a really weird encounter with this guy. He goes up to her telling her that she knows who he is, and when she tells him that she doesn't know who he is, he hits her on the top of the head. She says he hits her on the top of the head. Now, I didn't see that. If he did, that's not right, and he should have been taken out by security, but she claims that he hit her in the head. And she said that after he hit her in the head, he started calling for Biggie. So now she thinks that Biggie is the one that set this up. Now, I don't know if Biggie set this up. I don't even know if she knows this guy or if he's just a fan of her and he doesn't like Scarface. And so he knew that she was a part of the show and he knew which club they were going to be at and he decided to confront her. That's one situation that could have happened. And the only other scenario is that Biggie does know this guy and that she told him that she had an issue with E.T. earlier in the episode, and that's the reason why he showed up and decided to confront her. I don't know which is true, but I know that Biggie is going to have some things that she's going to have to deal with in the next episode because of this whole situation, because it does look a little fishy. So while they're at the club, Mariah Lynn seems super excited because not only is her sister there, but also her whole family is there. That's what she said in her confessional. And so she's excited because she feels like Smiley is going to get beat up, and so she ends up bringing her sister to the section where Smiley is at. Smiley sees Mariah Lynn's sister and she starts walking up towards Mariah Lynn's sister, and the two of them start swinging on each other and they're fighting. Now, the episode does end there, but at the same time, I do have one other thing that I need to address. Some people were saying that because Smiley was really quick to fight Mariah Lynn's sister at the club, that she's proving Sapphire and Sukihana right, that she'll only fight somebody that's smaller than her. Now, I don't agree with that because I feel like Smiley did what she was supposed to do, because Mariah Lynn is the one who gave the chain to her sister, and she told Smiley that if she wants her chain back, she has to go through her sister. Mariah Lynn brought her sister to the club specifically to fight Smiley, so that's what ended up happening. So obviously she's going to fight the girl because the girl has her chain. To me, Smiley did what Mariah Lynn should have been doing to her the entire season. Mariah Lynn should have been going at Smiley every day until she got that chain back. And I feel like Smiley's doing what she's supposed to do. Somebody took her chain, she's going to go after the person who has her chain. Mariah didn't do that. So to me, I really don't feel like people are making a point when they're saying that she's proving Sapphire and Sukihana's point right, that she'll only fight Mariah Lynn and her sister. I don't agree with that. And how I know that that's also not true is because she was ready to fight Rollie in the episode where Rollie threw a drink in her face. She stood up after the drink got thrown on her and she took her sweater off and she was ready to fight Rollie, but Mariah Lynn ended up hitting her from the side, and so that fight never ended up happening. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies East. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.